rush in and he steals the farm. How does that connect by anyway?
Hello and welcome back to the Amazon European Masters. I'm still Viperoon, still joined by Foxdrop. Corp 1-0 up in this best of 5 quarterfinals, and they had to work for it, but they didn't have to work too hard.
No, it was convincing, but you're right. It wasn't a complete rollover by UCAM. Good start for them. UCAM did pretty good in the first kind of 15 minutes or so. And honestly, if they could run it back, I think they would change a few things after that point in the game. But, you know, a decent foundation to build upon, at least for them.
Absolutely, and as the desk was saying, there's not like massive overturn that's needed. Maybe the side selection in Champ Select, as you can see, will be the solution that they need to get themselves on the board. But we are going to pick some bans. Ryze and Ziggs haven't been banned away yet, but you know, statistically speaking, they'll probably be the first two. What was the problem? Are there any champions you want to see removed that we saw last game?
I think that LeBlanc was a bit problematic actually for KC. I think SAKEN's a little bit too good on that champion, and the way that KC were able to skirmish in general in the early game, or kind of like as lane phase was sort of ending, I think SAKEN was just doing way too much work. A lot of the ways that they found those fights as well, like as the game progressed, was SAKEN just chunking someone really hard too. So I wouldn't be surprised if that gets some kind of focus as well. Outside of that, I think the draft was fairly good from both teams. I think they'll be more or less happy with how it went down in general. But yeah, maybe you get a pivot onto that as well.
I'll be interested to see if KC decide to focus in on that jungle with the first pick as well, because of course they were on red side last time. They were pinched and had to kind of default to the Trundle, which Cinkrof did really good work on. But maybe they want to pick up something like the Zinzao, something like the Viego. We've seen the Ryze, Ezreal and Rakan all hitting the bench alongside that Ziggs. And the Orianna going as well, so there's going to be a little bit more potential options in that jungle position this time around.
Yeah, we might just see a handshake. I think Lee Sin first pick makes a lot of sense, honestly, if you're KC, since that's also a flex pick. Cabochard has played that a lot and is really good on that, and it's very good in Cinkrof's hand. But either way, I would expect to see like a Lee Sin Zinzao kind of handshake here. Whichever team wants to play whichever one, I would be shocked if you know, you're not going to see the other one as a response. It's going to be that Aphelios lock-in though for xMatty, so a lot of priority put on that pick specifically for KC. And last draft, when they were on red side, KC was on red side, they did the same thing as well. They didn't pick Thresh with it, and it did get taken away by Hantera. And honestly, Hantera was so good on that Thresh. I think if you're Targamas, there's no shame in picking that anyway to deny it from Hantera. Plus, it's also very good with Aphelios, obviously. But it is going to be that Lee Sin for UCAM. So yes,
take away that.
Probably be playing the Zinzao.
You've got to imagine that's probably going to be the direction. The Viego's up as well if they want to take that one. That's kind of the trinity as we were talking about. And there's the Thresh. Once again, Hantera had an excellent lane phase and actually an excellent game on the Thresh. It was just not really enough, and the damage was a little bit too much from the LeBlanc, which is still available. So KC could look to pick that one up alongside the support, and they have these more defensive options available. Stuff like LeBron that was banned away in the second rotation last game.
Exactly. KC can just choose to pick that one up as a response into the Thresh. It's going to be the Viego instead, so I was wrong, it's not Zinzao. It's going to be Lee Sin into Viego, and Viego has a lot of skirmishing power as well, so I think he's a very solid pick. And Cinkrof has been one of the better junglers we have here in EU Masters. Let's see what SAKEN decides to lock in right now. Do you match the supports to avoid that getting pinched, or are you going to try and find that mid instead? Because there are some good picks that you can prioritize. Now that LeBlanc's being hovered, I think, yeah, it makes a lot of sense to go that one. It is blind, but still, it did so much work last time. You even got that counter pick for UCAM into the LeBlanc. Like the Galio into LeBlanc is meant to work really well for Galio, or it's meant to work for Galio, and it absolutely did not last time. So
no.
KC with a lot of confidence in that pick.
It makes sense because it went so well last time around, and the Jinx was another champion that went really well. This time for UCAM going to be locked in once again, so it's the same bot lane that's going to be coming in from the last game, and bot lane definitely wasn't the problem in the stages where UCAM was going very well, but maybe got caught out a little bit too much in the later team fights.
For sure. I think it's, yeah, definitely in that lane phase, you know, Hantera was playing so well on that Thresh, getting so many picks, so many plays. The pure 2v2, you know, there wasn't absolutely a bot gap in the favor of UCAM. Like, they were doing so well in that lane. And, you know, Rafitta got really far ahead. He was like 2,000 gold ahead of xMatty at one point. it was like turbo funneled, just weren't able to leverage it. So that's where they're going to try and change things up. Obviously, if you're UCAM with that execution, is that Braum taken away? Same as last game. Not going to get that defensive-minded support. And Twisted Fate was a similar pick, a similar ban as well against the LeBlanc. That one's going to go down as well. I wouldn't be too surprised if Galio is actually a really good answer. It's a really good choice, I would say, for UCAM. It obviously did not work at all last game, so I'm curious to see whether they're actually even going to bother with it this time around.
I mean, is there a world we could see something like the Lissandra even? Just going to be like the strictly, you're not playing League of Legends in this mid lane matchup. You're just going to jump on me and not get to touch your keyboard. Is something like that maybe the option where it's such an easy, simple matchup?
Honestly, yeah, I think it's not bad at all. Like, you can lock down SAKEN pretty well there, and also just the rest of the side of KC. You've got high damage but squishy threats. I think the Sun works really well into compositions like that. You know, you just pick a target and blow him up. Instead, it is going to be that Syndra lock-in. Has played this once before. Baca has. I think Syndra very, very solid into the LeBlanc and has a great 2v2 with Lee Sin. The LeBlanc's going to have to be very careful navigating that mid lane. Definitely could find herself with a Targa on her back.
And the Syndra, this Baca's is a little bit of a different style of play to what we saw from the Galio, and we'll have to see if they can survive laning phase a little bit more effectively and can move around the map as well as they did in the early to mid stages before things started going south a little bit. The Renekton for Cabo in that top side is going to be really good to see some aggression coming into whatever Dreedy picks up, and we'll have to see what is going to be rounding out and going alongside xMatty, and then going to be able to move around the map with Cinkrof Viego as well.
Ooh, and nah, I'm not going to get my hopes up for that one. I think, okay, it is Pyke. All right, beautiful stuff. As you mentioned, there's the highlight, moving around with Cinkrof. The Pyke is a roaming champion, great at getting picks, so much damage as well. You take a look at the lineup of UCAM. Baca's a great, Jinx is a great target, Syndra's a great target as well. You can get those executions, get those resets going with Pyke plus Viego. I think that's a very ballsy choice, but very exciting to watch, and we could see a very explosive game in this one.
And it's going to be the Ornn to round it out for UCAM, so Dreedy's going to be on Ornn duty, so the team fights will be a little bit more effective, you've got to hope, rather than the Camille, which struggled to really get involved in the team fights. It was kind of ultimatum into dead, so there's not really any follow-up to be had there. But luckily, Ornn can blow his horn from a mile away and then wander in and then take more than 2 auto attacks.
You can, yeah, exactly. So that would be probably slightly better than last game. It's very, very clear game plan though from UCAM. You know, in the lane phase, if you can try and play through your Syndra, that's your best bet. You're not going to try and do too much with the Ornn top or Jinx on the bot side, and then more that traditional front to back with that Lee Sin, Syndra carrying you through the mid game. But the amount of skirmishing, the amount of early aggression, playmaking from KC is absurd in this game. UCAM are going to have to try and hold on. Not going to be that easy to do, but it's going to be exciting to watch nonetheless.
And I mean, KC, we know how great they are in the early game. The last game in this series, they didn't show that one until it got towards that mid game, those skirmishing points. We'll have to see if they can get going a little bit earlier, or if UCAM are going to even up the scoreline. We're made our way onto the Rift, second game of this best of 5 quarter final. KC with the advantage right now. Foxdrop, looking at these two compositions, you confident they can go 2-0 up in this series?
That's a good question. I think with the way that KC played last game, I have to just give the edge to them, because I think they demonstrated that they were a class above UCAM, if I'm going to be perfectly frank. And also with the explosiveness of this early game composition, it plays right into what KC want to do. I think the early game, last game from KC was a bit of an anomaly. It wasn't them at their finest, and they still found a way to pull it out, pre-20 minutes. I think all of that stuff really just adds up to such a dominant early game team. KC are going to be able to exploit that one with the likes of that Pyke in that bot side. LeBlanc in that mid lane as well, showing her face once more. Going to be able to play around that, get those skirmishes going. And it's going to be very scary stuff for UCAM.
I want to watch Baca in this mid lane in the early stages of this game, just because we had quite a few experts in the Spanish scene were saying Baca, one of the most underrated players in the RL system. Definitely someone that needs to be watched in this European Masters, and has had a pretty excellent tournament so far. Hantera gets a nice double flay into xMatty, who's going to have to back away, going pretty low. Shades of last game already, but now Rafitta on the return. takes a little bit too much damage. So again, aggression in the bot lane.
Yeah, and that comes out on top of KC, but who's going to get the level 2 first? Thresh Jinx has a good push with those rockets from Jinx's Q.
Where's the hook? Oh, it goes wide this time around, so Jinx needs to be a little bit careful. Hantera, just, you can tell that they're hunting for something. They really want to get this scrap going. And with the second minion wave coming on through, it is about that level 2, but I'm just worried that something's going to kick off in this lane at any moment.
It is. Absolutely. All good chain by SAKEN though.
Very nice. Little exchange for Baca. Should be okay. He is far enough back. No real worries here just yet.
Cinkrof with the level 2 gank on Viego.
Oh, how can they get away? Hantera gets a nice double flick. Will the hook land this time around? The death sentence does, but so does Pyke's. The ignite is rolling. Rafitta goes down. First blood, xMatty.
No one expects the level 2 gank from Viego. Viego thought of as more of a farming jungler, wanting to power through that, clear out all those camps. But no, he does red into Krugs into bot. Perfectly recognized by him to get that play going. And that is first blood for xMatty.
This is the reverse of what we saw last game. Last game, it was level 2 UCAM's bot lane getting that duo kill, not needing any outside assistance. This time around, it takes Cinkrof coming down for KC, but they get the first kill on xMatty. Double longsword and a dagger in pocket. Could look to put some real harm down onto this UCAM bot lane, especially if Cinkrof wants to make a return.
It's interesting to get that first blood onto Matty, because you would expect, with the way that these comps are rounded out, he'd be by himself. He'd be a bit neglected in that bot side. Targamas would want to move around, and instead of paying him attention, give attention to like LeBlanc, maybe even the Renekton. Oh, good hook!
It lands, and there's the snares, there's the chompers, there's the kill. And Pyke says, say absolutely nothing about it.
Wow. Hantera, mate, he's done it again. And that is big. That is really, really big right there. The kill doesn't go over to Rafitta, but that's fine because all the minions that Matty's losing under the tower. Oh, he's going to lose this one. This next wave is going to be chilling, but still, that's like, what, 2 waves, maybe 2.5 waves that he's lost there? That is very significant. Great play from Hantera doing it again.
And the second game on Thresh, and it's already looking super, super strong. You've got to be careful about this guy because he's coming in. He's landing pretty much every single hook. And look at this. The follow-up from the Jinx as well with the chompers is absolutely superb.
That combo is so, so nice. You often think of Thresh Jinx as like the more protective and safe. As if he, like, honestly, there was such a small window for him to land that. And he just, yeah, Hantera's on something else today. He really, really wasn't happy about the result of the first game. His Thresh performance is crazy. Either way, what I was going to say is, you know, you pair Thresh with Jinx to keep her safe for the defensive prospects. But it actually has pretty good offensive capabilities as well as a combo, because you can just use those chompers on top of a hook or a flay.
And it's something that we saw in first game as well. The Jinx was laying down these chompers vertically, more than horizontally, so it was very much a case of there's no good place for xMatty to walk, or whoever's caught out by the death sentence, because you're held in long enough to get snared, and then it's a case of, well, you can either step forward or away, but we know exactly where you're going to go, so the follow-up CC, the follow-up damage is really easy to land. So the bot lane from UCAM once again getting on the board with a kill. This time it goes over to Hadess in the jungle, however, but giving at least an early kill, it's never a bad thing.
Absolutely not. And he's been able to get the Iron Spike whip. That first component towards the Gore Drinker. Having that whip completed early means you're going to be able to farm faster as well, especially as AoE camps. You just use your Tempest, use the whip, and then one more attack would bring down all of the mini chickens. So yeah, he's not going to be too sad about that one at all. Plus he has got that level advantage over Cinkrof, just a little bit of a pace above him here, which means if he does hit that level 6 early, there is a window where Cinkrof won't be level 6. And having that advantage on Elite Sin, you know, very powerful ultimate, could be the difference in a team fight.
We'll have to see if it pays off, and we'll have to see if it even comes to pass. Just because you hit that level 6, you've only got a very small window to force the play before your opposing jungler does. But Cinkrof and SAKEN want to try and force the play, but they've walked over a ward, so Hantera and Rafitta giving so much respect.
As they should. Hadess, though, is kind of trapping here. Just chilling. There is that topside crab available, but Cabochard has pushed in top and is moving down, so no real punishment for UCAM. The fact that KC were moving down and didn't get anything out of it. UCAM weren't able to pick anything up on the other side. Didn't get that particularly impressive mid push. Weren't able to secure topside either. So no real punishment right there for KC making that greedy move down bot because the Cabochard's great lane play.
Cabochard plays well, huh? Who'd have thought?
Shocker. Absolute shocker. 20 CS up already. Oh, man.
And on the Renekton as well, he's going to be able to force plays a little bit more than he maybe would have been able to with the Gangplank. And yes, he was kind of gifted a kill pretty early on in the last game, which we're not expecting to see again. But you can see he's already got such an advantage, and Dreedy just being kept under tower. And Dreedy doesn't necessarily like to be super involved in the team fighting in general. I don't really, the blast gun was just used, but the red buff's got, and they're going to be able to move away.
All right, again, using the power of top lane, Cabochard, having that priority, having the pressure, able to leave lane and move around with Cinkrof. Hadess wasn't in the vicinity, but if anyone else was, if Baca was there, if Hadess was there, wouldn't have mattered. Wouldn't have mattered, still would have been a free red buff over to the side of KC. And as I mentioned, that window of UCAM with Hadess hitting level 6 first, it was actually Cinkrof hit 6 first because of the top crab, because of the red buff. Dreedy, he's not happy about this one. He might even get dove here. Look at the people moving topside from KC.
Oh yeah, you got SAKEN, you've got Targamas on the Pyke as well. They're all swimming up, so this wave won't be the one, but next wave certainly could be. The Cabochard just saving the Demolish proc this time around. Teleport coming in mid though as SAKEN turns around. And it looks like there's not actually going to be a rotation. It's going to be UCAM making a rotation up towards mid lane. But SAKEN too quick to get upriver to his team.
Do they know that people in this bush?
Well, I don't think they do. Hadess gets caught out, but it's actually going to be Death Sentence landing on it to Cinkrof. He gets taken down. The Unleashed Power gives UCAM the kill, and now the inside track to Rift Herald.
All right, and Cabochard as well might be a little bit caught out in this position too.
It's actually, yeah, massively caught out. Hadess just holding on until the Dominus is popped so they can get the damage down. Ultimate actually to keep Cabochard alive. He decides against chasing any further, though will get hit by the Q. Can he survive with the Q? No, he can't, but he gets the kill on Hadess anyway. It's a 1-for-1 trade in the top side.
That might actually kind of be okay for KC at the end of it, because look what's happening mid. You're going to get that push down. Plate going to go over to SAKEN right there. It was a good play by Cabo to turn that around and get that extra kill. Yeah, and even Matty's able to pick up that top wave too, so you're not losing much at all. Cinkrof and Targamas might just find Hantera. Oh, what a dodge.
It was a nice dodge, but I don't think he's going to be able to dodge too much more. It's the ultimate used by Viego. It's going to flash over the wall, but there is an ignite, and Cinkrof really wants to confirm the kill.
All in all, it works out well for KC. We saw shades of that in the first game where UCAM are the ones starting the plays. They're the ones making it happen and pulling the trigger, but it was KC coming out on top. And a little bit of that coming through here as well, as we see in the very start of this play. KC think they've got the jump, and that it's UCAM face checking into their death, but actually, the turn from UCAM is pretty significant. You've got a lot of burst buttons, a lot of CC. Cabochard just going to get caught out here as well. Now, I'm a little bit... I wonder whether Hadess had to take the second Q. As a Lee Sin player, obviously, I will tell you, you have to take every Q that you hit. But was this necessary? Because, you know what? Okay, I'm going to say that's fair. That's fair. If he doesn't have TP, then I say that's not necessary because he's going to recall. He's out of the fight. He's not going to get back in. You just take Herald, boom, you're sorted, right? But since he's got TP up, he would just instant TP'd back in, and so, okay, fair enough. Trading 1 for 1 then.
Herald wasn't taken, though. So there wasn't a gain on the back of that play, but that's also because of the other kill that went over as Hantera got caught out immediately afterwards. So, 10 minutes on the clock. This game, this time around, is KC favored slightly in terms of gold, so no mad Jinx like we saw in game number 1. Will this suit them in the way that they want to really win this game?
I think this game is going to blow up as we start approaching, you know, kind of like the 15-minute mark or so. This, you know, champions reaching level 9. Level 9 is a great number because you get rank 5 in your primary ability, which is usually your Q. It just means that most of these champions spike at level 9 as far as his like early game ability ranks and damage and all that nonsense goes. So yeah, it's going to be kind of scary for KC just to be able to flip the switch soon. Then you've got the Herald as well, so you can play for like a dive, you can get like a push, maybe make a pick as well. Obviously, the pick potential from KC is very good. And anytime you can get a pick and you can punish it with a Rift Herald, it means that much more.
Baca might be the pick, though. It takes a lot of damage, but SAKEN not looking for the dive and will dive away. But this Syndra needs to be super careful because LeBlanc's still putting out a decent amount of damage, even at these early stages.
She doesn't even have her first item yet. Once that gets completed, the one-shot capacity becomes very real for a LeBlanc. But there's 3 people for UCAM in mid, but the top side's going to go down here. Rift Herald hasn't been placed. I don't even think... I'm not really sure if they're even going to bother with this one, whether they're just going to take it with their bare hands, but UCAM not really respecting this top side play. xMatty getting funneled a few more plates into his pocket.
Yeah, not going to be able to take the tower, but they get pretty much all but one plate. They just need a couple of auto attacks on the next wave to do so, and UCAM will have to commit a decent defense to stop xMatty getting that damage down. And it looks like they're going to just leave Rafitta and Hantera hanging around on the side, but this gives SAKEN an opportunity to get some more gold mid.
UCAM are being pulled around the map right now. KC, every time they show somewhere, they've got some pressure, UCAM try and respond, and in that time where UCAM's responding, KC move to a different side of the map, put pressure down there, and they're always on the back foot. Again, you're going to see like they're responding to the top side, and now it's mid that's being pushed in. Now it's mid that's going to get that pressure. You've got Cinkrof coming in, you've got Cabochard coming in as well. That is a Herald being put down mid side. Again, UCAM just not in position to respond for this. They're being pulled around, as I mentioned. There's no Hantera, no bot lane to help protect this tower.
There's no wave really for KC, but it's still going to funnel in 4 plates to their mid laner, to their jungler, and that cast injection is going to be really lovely. This is the first semi-notable gold lead we've seen in this game 13 minutes in. There's still an opportunity to grab more if you can be quick about it.
We've got 1 more minute until those plates drop. Wouldn't expect to see... I think, you know, with teams resetting and stuff, it would be pretty adventurous if one of them was able to pick up an extra plate. But either way, with what KC have gotten, I'll be very, very happy with that one. You know, you've got 4 plates in that top side, 4 plates in the mid lane as well, as opposed to UCAM, who've gotten 2 plates in total. So a big plate advantage right there for KC in this early game. And once these plates fall down, you know, at this 14-minute mark, towers become very squishy. With squishy towers, you can blow them up, you can take them off the map, and that opens up the map. And a team with Pyke, with LeBlanc, with Viego, wants that open map. You know, they want to be able to move around. They want to be able to put vision down and to catch people out of position. And this is where you have to be very careful now if you are UCAM.
Yeah, especially if you're a couple of the less mobile, less tanky members of UCAM, Jinx and Syndra. It's not going to be a fun time for them if they walk anywhere that's not lit up like a Christmas tree. Remember, it's only September. It's not going to be Christmas lights available for UCAM all that much, especially when you've got the likes of Lee Sin who wants to be maybe saving them for a little bit more mobility, and when you're not safe to move up and try and get that slightly deeper vision because of the threat that the other team's causing you. Very true. Normally Christmas, we're somewhat close to spooky season, but as we all know, spooky season is more like a dark theme, and that's you know, we don't want a dark map. That means you can't see anything. You won't know the plays that KC are making, and if you make one wrong step against the likes of that Pyke and LeBlanc, then you are in big trouble. It's KC now looking, positioning for this play in the river. Dragon spawning in 1 minute's time. KC having permanent priority, so Cabochard having permanent priority in his lane means that he's been doing this all game, man. Pushing in on, roaming up, taking control of an area of the map, much to his team's benefit. And this is some of the veterancy we're seeing coming through from Cabochard. Looks like a lot of damage coming out mid. What? Jinx is gone. The tower will follow. Cabochard throws down the dominance, looking for a target. Can't find anyone except Hantera this time around, but the stun comes through, and there's another kill. As the horn is blown, it's a knock-up. It's not a knock-up with a nice flash from Cabo, who's still alive. He's going to be able to walk away. Hadess won't be so lucky as he burns. Actually, he will. With the... How is everyone surviving in this fight? They can't keep getting away with this. Oh my goodness, what an explosive fire. I don't think it's done yet. Oh, Dreedy going to go unstoppable, not taking too much CC, but there's just so much available for KC. They'll be able to take him low as Ornn stumbles away. Nice double stun from Baca, looking for a target, but SAKEN's going to supply the damage himself. There's the rocket coming on downtown. Won't hit anyone this time around. Again, no one else falls in the follow-up play. Crazy. Oh, it's just never done. It's never over. Hadess, no one's dying. Hadess is walking away. But Dragon has spawned now, and Hadess is going to go back to the fountain. So we'll see. I think KC might be able to pick that one up. But what on earth happens to Rafitta here? Let's see. So it's a W forward from the LeBlanc, from Fog of War. QRE. As if it takes 3 abilities to bring him down at this point in the game. That's literally one combo with the Electrocute and the Luden. He flashes out, and he's chilling. Yeah. Basically that, to be honest with you.
I don't know how Hadess survives. That ability looks like it does no damage, by the way. LeBlanc threw a Q in right at the end, and it just didn't do anything. But yeah, either way, I mean, yeah, I think I've used the word explosive a lot this game when we're setting up and to describe the fights, but just holy crap, like it's just crazy, man. When you get skirmishing teams like this, they let LeBlanc through. You know, whether that was a question we had. The Des mentioned it as well. UCAM. Whether they wanted to ban away this LeBlanc from game one, that was very, very impactful. They didn't, and it's definitely hurting them right now.
Well, it's a question of whether they thought they had a solution or whether they thought there were bigger risks across the board they needed to deal with. Because right now, as you say, it's causing them massive hurt. It did so in game one. It's doing so again. And this time, this fight, she's not going to be in it, but the damage coming through. Targamas burning low. It's going to be able to flash away, but will go down to the ignite this time around. Teleports coming in across the map. So this fight might not be done. SAKEN is now here. Cabochard is now here. But Dreedy going to try and force the issue onto the Crocodile. Won't be able to do so. And the fight peters out.
Ooh, very close to Targamas to survive that one. KC had the inside track on mid. They might not be done just yet, but I think they're gonna have to run away. They are a member down. SAKEN is moving towards the bot side play right there. Good stuff from UCAM. They are able to catch someone out of position. That is just a net win for them. Very, very nicely done. Fine Targamas out of position. Here comes the re-engage.
Ooh, nice knock up onto xMatty, but he might be a little bit too far away to actually chase onto. UCAM, there's going to be a little 1v1 on the side as Cinkrof and Hadess go at it. Jungler versus jungler. You've got to back the Viego this time around. Hadess going to be able to dive away.
Yeah, Viego sustained damage, plus his healing a little bit too much to win out a 1v1. If it is extended, as Leeson just found out right there, having to dip away from that play, that is going to mean it's the second Herald over to KC. And again, we've had these skirmishes fighting around towers. It was when UCAM decided to defend, that's when KC realized, you know what, we can go for this.
Hadess. Okay, Hadess. That was half health from like 1 QW, I think, and Baca might be able to feel the sting as well, but Hantera this time around is there for the assist.
You're just not safe, are you? Like, you're just really not safe anywhere. You think you might be, but you'd be very, very wrong. As KC just... It's just, at this point in the game, it's just too much damage. You just can't really deal with it. You really can't. The margin of error is so slim, because if you get caught out, there's so much damage coming your way, so much CC, so much catch, that you just fall down really easily, as Hadess found out.
And I mean, we've kind of answered the analyst desk question, the one you posed a couple of minutes ago. Do they need to be banning the LeBlanc? Yeah. Probably. It's been absolutely terrifying. We know how good SAKEN is. And if he's able to just walk into a team fight and pinpoint and destroy the priority person in that fight, UCAM are always going to be fighting with one hand tied behind their back. And against KC, against K-Corp, you're just not able to do that.
Absolutely, and you have to think about the team comp as well from UCAM. It's like you have two damage threats. You have two carry options. You've got the Syndra, you've got the Jinx. And LeBlanc can one-shot either one of those. And if you can stop her doing that, then it's fine. Absolutely fine. You just play it chill, sorted, no problem. But SAKEN has absolutely not struggled in the slightest at finding these plays onto either Rafitta or Baca in both game 1 and game 2. And it's just not easy for UCAM to navigate.
They're trying to consider plays here. You saw Hadess attempting one, but wasn't able to get the follow through because too many members there to support Targamas. And now KC on the attacking foot once again. Dreedy up there responding to the LeBlanc is probably tanky enough to survive the burst, but we've been wrong about that before. And not going to be enough to survive members of KC coming in such numbers. Cabochard is there tanking up the tower. SAKEN will be there with Rift Herald now as well. The tower is forfeit, but Dreedy survives.
That's going to be the outer tower, which is worth a lot more gold nowadays as well. So good pick up in the pocket there for KC. We're 20 minutes into the game, and it is a 6,000 gold lead, which feels a bit quiet for me. I know when you look at this game, you think, you know, KC are running around. They've got total control of the map. Everything's going their way. Rafitta is just feeling the pain this one. But a 6,000 lead, that is incredible for 20 minutes on. UCAM staring down the game 2 right here, already struggling big time.
It's been a very, very difficult game for them. My question now that I have to pose to you, and this is always the tough one, how are they going to be able to stabilize and get back into this game from this position? Now, I don't think it's going to start with Hantera potentially getting caught out. No, he's he's okay this time around.
Well, speaking of getting caught out, that's what UCAM need. They need to find someone with the Thresh, with the Syndra. Unfortunately, KC are also looking to catch you out if you're UCAM. If you can find that 4v5 fight, I'm just going to stop talking because KC, they're looking for this one. SAKEN.
They're doing a great job of having this line of tankier members in front of people like Rafitta, like Baca this time around. So you know that you're going to be jumping into potentially loads of CC. And even though SAKEN's strong, he's not going to want to do that. The Dragon is on the menu, so now it's turned into what they wanted to force a fight into wanting to force this objective. Cabochard on the backline has popped his ultimate though. Nice kick in through. They found xMatty. He's gone down. The kill goes over onto the Ornn, but Cabochard dives into the fray. They still got Targamas throwing in the backline, but that's a shutdown from Rafitta. This fight is going disastrously. Can they get the resets? Can Targamas get away? Can Cinkrof do work? There's a second death from below as Hadess looks to take down the Pyke. That's brutalizing his team. Dreedy will be forfeit. You have to imagine the damage coming in is just too much. KC looked like they were down, but they don't need xMatty. They've got Targamas.
Great start from UCAM, from Hadess on the engage, catching xMatty out. I thought that was perfect stuff right there. It was a great position for the team fight as well from UCAM. Really, really good start for the Spanish squad in the fight. It just... KC are just too good at turning it all around. The resets, that combo, Pyke and Viego, absolutely nutty. The execution into the reset was crazy. Take a look at it again because xMatty getting caught out is a fantastic start. A great play from Hadess right here. He just jumped flash kicks, easy as you like. No problem at all, and it's the perfect start because now when you look at the position of Rafitta, you look at the position of the entirety of UCAM compared to KC, you've got a lot of gap between your carries and the enemy carries, and I thought that was it. That was beautiful, good stuff. But no, unfortunately not. KC just too good in that skirmish, just too good jumping in right there. UCAM not able to finish what they start. Nice attempts, but unfortunately, as we've seen all series, oh my goodness, it's more of KC. It's more.
Dreedy. He's going to be able to walk away for now, but the damage going down on it is pretty drastic. KC can't find the pick, but they force away. Baron's up.
Whew. Okay, well, I don't think the fighting stopped since we started game one. I mean, now fairly deep into game two. Yep, and there's another one. Never mind. Matty's going to whiff on the ult. They just want to fight all the time, man. They don't want to stop.
They like a good scrap, these two teams, and that's what we want to see, right? It's teams that are willing to fight each other, teams that are willing to make the risky plays, because Hadess looking at the backline, trying to find xMatty. Can he find a good kick? Yes, he can, directly into the depth centers. That's beautiful for UCAM as Syndra picks up the kill. Hadess is going to find a long jump away, and that's exactly what they needed right there.
Another pick onto xMatty. This Lee Sin is a huge thorn in his side right now. UCAM just backing away after getting the pick. Gonna have to lick their wounds a little bit right now too. This is the thing though, like, sure, you can get the pick on xMatty and that's great, but there's just so much power across the board for KC that it doesn't really matter. Like, you can't get a huge amount from that. It's cool to get a kill, of course, but not able to really turn it into anything for UCAM, and this lead continues to be significant.
It's looked a little bit dicey in the past couple of fights for KC though. xMatty especially hasn't been getting the support or the peel that you necessarily want as an Aphelios. And in that last play, it was just a 1-for-0 trade. If you can do that and then turn it into an objective, turn it into a Baron, or turn it into a Dragon, then maybe things could start looking up for them in a small way. However, I don't know if they're going to be given that opportunity because KC Cabochard, he just wants to start a fight again.
They always want to start a fight, man. They just never want to stop. That is a very appropriate emote flash by Cabo right there. That sums up the spirit of Karmine Core. Just a crazy rabid dog. Always looking for the plays. And UCAM just can't breathe. They just cannot find any time to catch their breath. KC are not giving it to them.
But UCAM are giving pretty well in these team fights. xMatty missing the ultimate once again. Not able to get the poke down to potentially start up this fight. SAKEN really looking for a target. Hantera now can't be that wall in front of the Jinx because one combo and it's goodbye. Thresh going to be forced to recall, and KC have found themselves a little window if they want to try and make a play happen. It looks like they're just going to move towards the Baron.
All right, what does UCAM have in response right here? They're going to have to face check into the likes of SAKEN, into the likes of Targamas. It's going to be difficult to stop this.
It's going to be impossible to walk up to it, it seems. SAKEN and Targamas just causing so much threat on the backline. Cabo is here as well. They're looking to maybe brute force. Cinkrof goes very, very low, but the Baron is secured. No steal with the Ornn, and he's going to miss the knockback. A teleport coming in from the Syndra to get into the frame, but Dreedy might be a little bit too far forward. He's going to be able to get a knock-up on to Cabo. That's a really nice hook from Hantera once again, but it won't lead to anything this time around. Targamas can't find enough damage to get the execute rolling. No one goes down, but Baron goes the way of the LFL side.
No kills for UCAM there is tragic. They had to find something, but they're going to get caught themselves. It's a TP flank behind them.
Oh yeah, it's Cabo. He's running in. Can he find Rafitta? Can he find a target? The hook this time around will not from Targamas, but Dreedy needs to find a way out. Remember, his health bar is so low. Even though he's a tank, a combo could do him. Cinkrof coming in from the bot side. They're looking for the pincer. They're looking to cover all exit routes as Targamas marauds forward. Cabo, he's on his own, but he's such a big threat with the dominance popped. He takes the blast gun over. Can he find a target? He can find many, but he can't get a kill down. Baca on the other side gets the shutdown onto SAKEN and floats away. UCAM turn it around and grab themselves a pick.
Beautiful stuff right there from UCAM. It was looking really hairy. KC getting that Baron sneak. UCAM not able to find any of those kills on the backside, and it was looking pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. The fact that you lose that all for free, no bueno. But picking up the LeBlanc with that shutdown as well onto Baca, that's exactly the kind of thing that UCAM want. And if they can barrel it down to this dragon as well, which is spawning in 2 seconds, you have that numbers advantage. You cannot give this one up for free. There is no world in which this goes down for free for KC, and it goes down for free. It's not the optimal play.
No, it's not. And UCAM unable to find anything on the back of it. But let's have another look at this fight, because it looks like the perfect situation for KC. Where does it go wrong?
It goes wrong with Baca just one-bop SAKEN right here in the bush. Absolutely insane. Like, yeah, sure, LeBlanc has a lot of damage, but Syndra, if you get caught in a combo from her, she's absolutely going to bring it to you as well. As SAKEN found out in that one, if there was still a 20-second death timer for SAKEN on that play, now you're on soul point as well. It's just, I strongly feel like UCAM had to try something more there. Couldn't afford to give that one up, because now, you know, 4 minutes time, you're going to be forced into another fight, you know, around that dragon, and you're not winning fights. You're not winning clean fights at all.
Dreedy taking some prodding, and actually goes below half health before he's able to take the lantern out. But this is the thing, because UCAM are going to be forced more and more into having to take fights to avoid big objectives going down. And they're not able to fully take fights. Yes, in the last one we can see it, but Cabochard might have been caught out. He's going to be caught up by the as Dominus comes down, so he's tanky, but he's not that tanky. Damage is being free fired into him, but he will fall. Cinkrof gets slowed by the zap, but the Lee Sin can't follow through. The ultimate's taken in the face, but it doesn't get another. SAKEN look for an assassination, cannot find it this time. So once again, UCAM get the pick.
This is all good. You're just buying time if you're UCAM, getting a little bit of gold in your pocket as well. You don't have to take anything crazy from these picks. It can just be, you know, just the kill. You kill the tempo from KC. You get a bit of gold in your back pocket as well. UCAM are going to be very happy with this one, but unfortunately, you know, they still put on that timer in 3 minutes time now. Time just keeps ticking away. This Dragon Soul going to be coming up, an Infernal Soul. You have to feel if UCAM give that up. If KC can secure it, that might just be game 2 in the books, but can UCAM find themselves a spot, a world where they can contest this dragon, where they can make the plays happen? It's going to be very difficult, but that's their only chance.
Well, I mean, they've shown that they can get picks. It's just a case of whether they get that pick and then decide, right, this is a big enough one. This is where we can push forward and contest the objective 4v5, because not only do they need to kill someone, they need to reserve enough resources to take the ensuing fight, and they need to kill someone notable who's going to be causing problems. But that being said, looking at this K-Corp roster top to bot, any champions causing them concerns this game.
Yeah, there's really no good target where you bring down, you're like, yes, we can now easily win this 4v5. As sad as it is to say that, you know, you remove Cabochard and you still got SAKEN and xMatty. You remove xMatty and we all know what happens, because UCAM's already taken 2 4v5 fights without xMatty and they've still lost them. You know, and it's just, it's difficult, exactly as you say. There's so many threats across the board for KC. For UCAM to find the pick, yeah, sure, you can get a pick. That in itself is difficult, but even if you do get that, you'll still have to navigate a very difficult team fight.
That being said, ornaments have started to come through, and Baca on the Syndra, we saw it a little bit in a teamfight a couple of moments ago, has quietly become very, very scary. We talked about how SAKEN's being this big, flashy, jump in and assassinate. If you stand remotely near this Syndra when she's hit level 16 with that 3rd rank on the ultimate, you're dead.
Absolutely. There is nothing protecting you against that. And just looking at the build, SAKEN is a very, very greedy boy. He's gone Deathcat plus Void Staff. Absolutely nothing that's going to keep him alive. You know, no Banshees to protect him against like a hook or something like that, or any kind of incoming CC. No Zhonya's or no Stopwatch to protect you against the Syndra ulti flying your way. Essentially, SAKEN, yeah, he's got a lot of firepower, but if... Just like that, he has a lot of firepower. Oh dear, but if he gets caught, he's dead, but I guess that doesn't matter. God.
I mean, the reverse of the flip here is KC find themselves a pick. They've got Baron up in 2 seconds. They can probably look towards that one. But what can UCAM do? Hadess, don't go in there, buddy.
Oh my goodness, man. It's just like, yeah. And that's going to be Baron right there, going down very fast. Level 16 xMatty, 4 items. Dragon Soul spawning in 20 seconds. Baca does have TP. Let's see if UCAM can try and do something about this one. It's not going to be easy.
Dreedy trying to force his way through a choke, can't do so, has to move away, but members of Corp are coming on through. Remember, last time we had a setup like this, though, UCAM actually came out of it with the kill, and the teleport coming in from Syndra means that the past killer is now in the fight, but I don't like that. UCAM 4v5 once again.
Right. Yeah, Baca's gone down on this one. It looks like it's just going to be this Infernal Soul. Hadess is too far away.
Teleport behind. He's looking to get this fight. He's looking to get the game-ending team fight going down. He will be able to do just that. Hantera is caught out as well. More killing in the top side. Hadess dives away, but he's the only member of his team left standing. Cabochard looking for the dive, looking for the damage. Won't be able to find Lee Sin. A little bit too slippery. But Corp, they've got Baron. They've got 4 members down. What can they gain from this?
It might just be the entire game. The death timers are fairly significant. You've got good tower killing potential. You've got Baron buff, 5 members strong. I don't think UCAM can hold this. I think KC's going to bring it up 2-0 in this quarterfinal.
What does Hadess have in the tank? He's going to get stunned up, damage coming on through, but he will be able to dive onto Baca to avoid the assassination. But the 2 Nexus towers are down. It took 5 more minutes than last time around as Hadess goes gold, and the Nexus is going to be taken by the minions before Lee Sin goes down. But as you said, match point Corp.
Wow, just complete domination right there from KC as well. It wasn't quite as good of an early game for UCAM this time around, but it didn't matter. KC was still able to find everything. Mate, just ban LeBlanc. That's going to be... I guarantee you that's gone next game. Like, it wasn't like LeBlanc completely took over the game in the sense, like, yeah, she got a few early kills, and so, of course, she was going to look really strong, but it wasn't the draft. It was... No, like, LeBlanc was just chilling. She was just chilling. She didn't get any crazy lead, and she still did disgusting things. Just get rid of that. Go back to the drawing board. You know, this Rafitta Jinx Thresh bot isn't really cutting it at this point. KC are just too good in these skirmishes. You're going to have to face the dragon at this point.
And it's not just a case of drafting for lane, because again, in lane, things look okay in that bot side, but you have to maybe be looking to draft a little bit more for the way that KC are forcing you to play. And UCAM haven't responded yet. They need to in the 3rd game of this series, because any losses now and they're going home. We're going to jump to a short break, but when we come back, the analyst desk is going to be here to break that one down. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Corp finds himself on match point as they manage to take down UCAM for a second time this series. And let's be fair, Corp showed a very strong early game this time around.
Yeah, I mean, they look dominant, I've got to say, and it felt like they got a pretty substantial lead, and then they ran away with it. And I will say it felt like UCAM offered a bit more resistance in the mid-late game than we saw in that first game, but even so, when you're that far behind, when you're dealing with things like SAKEN's LeBlanc, and they eventually got the Infernal Soul, it's scary.
Yeah, and it feels, again, like we're seeing just the solo laners take over. Every single time we've been coming into this, it's been talking about Cabochard, it's been talking about SAKEN, and how well they've been doing. It's just been a pop-off performance.
I mean, Corp is looking to find a back-to-back title, and it's never happened before, and the way they're doing it is just phenomenal. I mean, looking at this team, and let's be honest, I expected a bit more from UCAM coming into the series, looking back at Spring, but it looks like Corp has differentiated in a bit where UCAM didn't really do that so far. I don't know if that's correct.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a very similar story to what we expect from Corp, right? They are kind of trying to play through their solo laners. We're talking about the jungle support linking up and working together. When we look at UCAM, game one, they had a draft a threat player on the top side. That's not really working. Now they're trying to play around the bottom. Again, going back to that style, but that's not quite working as well because you just have the solo laners from Corp are just doing wonders.
Yeah, and I mean, even credit again, we saw Hantera on this Thresh, who had an amazing game, but it just feels like these individual players coming out from the bot side of the map for UCAM aren't enough to match up against the blue wall that is the top side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, SAKEN has been dominating in the mid lane, and I think as well, like, I actually love that we saw this early game coming through from SAKEN, where he was actually the one getting full push in the mid lane, levels 1 to 3, which traditionally we don't see into that LeBlanc and Syndra matchup, and it meant that when we got that Viego play onto the bottom side of the map, the Viego never got punished for that level 2 gank. It meant that Hadess didn't have the support to invade, and it kind of shut things down.
We did see some things coming back that we set up in before the games, is that the way UCAM plays their team fights, but it's just Corp doing a lot more damage. Like, they're just kicking the ball around, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like they had that grouped up death ball. And again, very split from Corp, which we saw in that clip. It allowed xMatty to get picked off, but it means they can very easily collapse and punish. And it's just like, there's nowhere safe for Rafitta to stand when there's stress on every single side.
Yeah, and I love that we're seeing, I mean, as you, Koolein, were actually pointed out backstage, that we're getting to see very much how these two teams like to play these team fights. We're getting all that spread out damage. We're getting the picks even that facilitate that style, right? Like that Pyke in the bot lane. We're bringing up the pings like the Viego that do well when you're in these kind of 2 to 3 people battles. And unfortunately, coming through for UCAM, they just cannot keep up.
Yeah, we have to see what UCAM can bring to the table because once again, Corp is at match point currently. Though we do have to look a bit at this post-game breakdown, it is, yeah, UCAM is never to be seen like, anywhere.
Look at that damage, dude, from LeBlanc. LeBlanc is a burst assassin. You don't expect it to be topping the damage charts. And SAKEN is just like absolutely on fire. You know, the other day I was talking about SAKEN, I mean, SAKEN blown out of the park. Definitely the best mid lane in this tournament. Definitely looking to go LEC next split.
I will also say I think Rafitta is painfully aware that this is a burst assassin after I just had that Q or E combo and just gone.
Yeah. What I also know is, like, they also managed to take down the Drakes. Like, the entire game was in Corp's hands. Although you already mentioned, Ox, is like UCAM did some stuff back, but maybe a bit too late.
So I think the big thing that I sort of want to break down is how effective Corp were in the early game. And the big thing for me is that it came from Cinkrof and Targamas grouping together early to establish vision for this LeBlanc. And the reason why this is so important, we have some clips that we can show you that sort of break this down. Once you start establishing vision for a LeBlanc lane, it gives an absolute ton of freedom to this pick to start to roam around.
Not only that, again, we see jungle and support, how important it is. We've been mentioning it yesterday in the series for Big and for PDW, but also here, it is mid-jungle support we're looking at constantly.
So if you look here, you can see the jungle support moving together to establish vision. This then means SAKEN can push freely, obviously too much threat on Baca because of the vision, and they can lean down towards the bot side and apply pressure. With this wave position, it's kind of uncomfortable for the bot lane of UCAM, and although nothing comes from this play, they then look to do similar things on the top side.
Yeah, and this is the one that, like, this continued the whole midway through. You're seeing here, right? Look at where we're getting SAKEN on that bottom side. He's starting to rotate up. You've now got to back away as UCAM from this tower, allowing Aphelios to have a ton of pressure up on this top side. We think of Hadess roaming up from UCAM to try and facilitate this play. And now watch, right? After you get this full commit from UCAM to the top side, all right, cool, K-Corp, let's just roam towards the mid lane. We've got the Rift Herald, we've caught UCAM with their pants down. Now we're getting plates top, now we're getting plates mid, and it's so difficult to keep up with.
And it just felt like this control they had around mid just let them do that endlessly. It really felt like UCAM just couldn't keep up with the pressure, and it's just exactly how you should play around with a LeBlanc, right? Once you have control in mid around with the vision, once you keep threatening plays onto the Syndra, you can't even afford to push up, and then you have these constant leans to the side, and that's why when you look at that game, it feels like leads were just appearing out of nowhere. Like the CS lead we saw top lane between Cabochard and Dreedy wasn't naturally born. It was because of a topside lean, gave him an advantage, and then he used that to take it further. And that was just really crisp, clinical play coming out from K-Corp there.
And it kind of feels like at this stage that this LeBlanc's got to go for me, right? Every time we've been talking about how impressive it's been, we saw Baca try to bring out the Galio, not up to scratch. Now we get the Syndra, same issue again. We need to see this LeBlanc off the board because otherwise Baca's just falling too far behind in the mid lane and SAKEN is taking over with the jungler.
Yeah, because let's take a look at the pain points for UCAM. Looking at what we set out at the beginning of the day, we were expecting a total massacre. Like, these two teams in spring were insane against each other, and we kind of expecting the same thing. But now coming into this series, I don't know, it feels like I'm watching big PDW all over again because UCAM is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, and I think there were moments where they were trying to regain control of mid, but you're against the LeBlanc, right? You move Hantera up, you're like, let's try and punish the LeBlanc, OG distortions away. I guess there's no pressure there. And I think they need to just get rid of the pick. We said it after game one. It's clearly an issue. SAKEN's too good in it. And also it adds the element of safety where you can't regain pressure. But realistically, I think we're seeing good things from the bot side from UCAM in lane, but the map play is better from K-Corp. And at the end of the day, lane play doesn't often compare to map play in competitive League of Legends, and that's why we're seeing K-Corp come out ahead.
And this is why we've seen K-Corp change up their style, right? We said in spring, they played around the bottom side. They were like UCAM now, but this is the new meta. This is the way we're expecting teams to play, not only here, but at Worlds as well, where you start to look towards your solo lanes, unlocking your support from the bottom side of the map. And when you've got Targamas and Cinkrof, who not only now, but also in spring were incredibly potent as a duo, you're seeing the results. They've changed that, they've adapted from moving down to that bottom side, now going up to the top, enabling Cabochard. Now SAKEN's getting involved as well, and you're seeing how impressive that is to deal with.
And it kind of feels like the transition they made in their style actually cost them a bit during, playoffs in the LFL, and even earlier in this tournament, they didn't look super convincing, but it feels like they've ramped up, and this is kind of hitting their final form. And I mean, what a time to do it other than at knockouts at UM.
Not only that, it would be the second time that UCAM could be knocked out by that big blue wall that is K-Corp. They're looking for their back-to-back EU Masters title for the LFL, but especially for them as an organization. Will it be the match point? Will it be a 3-or can UCAM bounce back?